Welcome to the Street Report. Street Report.
This is Eddie Cantor. You may think you are listening to just laughter and applause, but to comedians, it's food and drink.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the Street Report podcast. My name is Jeff Woodard. As always, I am your host. Today, I have a very special guest. You know him as the voice of Hyundai, but he's also been in The Heat with Sandra Bullock, like making out with her and shit. Ghostbusters, Mad TV. He's got his own podcast about last night. Really, he's done too much shit for me to just sit here and list, because that would be like the whole show. I could just sit here and list shit all day. Dude's a voice actor on cartoons and shit. I mean, what am I going to do? Sit here for like 30 minutes and tell you all the shit this dude's done? Adam Ray. You don't know who Adam Ray is. Believe me, you're going to love the episode. Hilarious dude. And he definitely gets into some funny stuff. We were kind of pressured on time. I had to meet him in the hotel lobby. It was kind of a little bit of ambience in the background, but it's really not bad. And we got to talking and joking around.
But I'll take it from here, man.
Sure, Adam.
Uber. You were driving. You were sitting in the back seat, right? What was exchanged that made you get out and go, I think we should keep in touch? You know what I'm saying? There has to be a moment. Like, dudes, first of all, you guys are dudes, so that already says to me, you don't need much, because dudes don't need much to be exchanged. Very little information. It's just like, dude, you like sports? What? Dude, I love sports. Are you dude, do you like food? Are you serious? Dude, I love food. Dude, what is happening right now? We are really connecting. This is crazy. Are we dudes? I think we're dudes. That's why it's so easy. So easy. Okay, right? 3, 2, 1.
So how's it going, man?
Going good.
You how
you
feeling?
started?
Yeah, I just
Okay,
started.
cool.
Yeah, I start like you guys do.
Like Brad and I?
Yeah,
Oh,
you know.
cool, man.
I've been listening to you guys for quite some time.
How
and,
dope.
I value comics, like
Yeah.
especially in this time where like life is so fucking stressful, you know. And
It is, right? Yeah, man. I mean, I still subscribe to the idea that, you know, I definitely can't avoid talking about some of the things that are making daily headlines, but
Yeah.
I try to go out of my way to treat the comedy club experience for anyone who's coming as an escape from all that.
Yeah, good.
But that's just my, you know, everyone, you know, looks at it differently. But for me, when I go see comedy or a movie, it's to, you know, step into that world for a minute and not think about what's outside that door. And not to say that, again, like I watch a lot of the John Olivers and Trevor Noahs and you know, Samantha Bee's, people that are really taking a nice charge at a lot of the, you know, facts and information that is, you know, somewhat comical, but I don't know. I sometimes it also too like genuinely angers me, so
Yeah.
it's tougher to like make light of it.
Right.
And when I see, you know, I'm not trying to really make, you know, my job is to make people laugh, and you know, if I can find a way to do that and make some points and say some things that I feel like have some weight and value to them, then for sure. But you know, there's a lot of other things also too that genuinely interest me.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started, and my stepdad would, you know, tell me, he was like, you know, you had those jokes about like McDonald's and how like they're making kids like little fat fucks, and like I think there's more to that. Like there's more really good, really, you know, taking a stab at corporate America. And I was like, yeah, but like it's, you know, it was more of just like a silly joke. Like you know, at that point too, it just didn't interest me to like really tackle like larger issues, you know.
Yeah.
But again, it's like you know, I'm sure in 10 years when I've hopefully done a couple specials that like, you know, your interests change and like what you want to talk about, what you know, strikes you as something that's important to make light of. And right now it's the stuff that's really a part of my life, which is, you know, my nieces, my friends that are, you know, becoming more domesticated, and me, you know, being single and traveling, and just all the experiences that I'm accumulating by being single with no kids and no wife, and, you know, getting to go on New Kids on the Block fan concert cruises, or being best friends with a dwarf, and you know, just seeing the country. It's like that, you know, I have a lot already to talk about.
Right,
so it's
no
almost, you know, and you also feel sometimes too that you're like, God, there's so many people that are consistently talking politics that like they're gonna say anything that I would try to say better. So,
right, no doubt. It's kind of played out in a sense. Yeah.
I mean, but at this point too, it's what's unfortunate is that there's it's becoming tougher and tougher to like not make jokes, but just like really, it's just so real now. It's just like people like, I mean, the fact that we're talking about Nazis and it's not like trying to educate kids on,
the way past.
Yeah, man, that's just crazy. But
yeah, it is.
Yeah. Hey,
man. What are you gonna do?
That's
Well, I'm just glad we got funny fuckers like you to
thanks,
get our minds out of
it.
You
totally,
know what I
mean?
Totally. So you're living in California now, but you're from Seattle, right? Mm-hmm. So is it really?
Yeah, one of the few times I'm not rocking a Mariners hat.
Oh yeah.
This is a time to be rocking it too, because we're in a tight pennant race.
Is it overblown, or does it really rain that much?
You know what, man? I will go on record as saying it is overblown.
Yeah.
But also, I enjoy the fact that people buy into that stereotype, because Seattle has definitely gained a lot of credit as far as being a cool-ass city.
Yeah.
And I try to not spread that too hard, because I don't want people moving and overpopulating my city when I go home. The traffic is getting worse and worse when I go home. And so anytime people are like, doesn't it rain a lot? And like, people just listen to Pro Jam and drink coffee and think about killing themselves. And I'm like, pretty much, dude, do not move there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, look, it rains more than it does in L.A.,
right.
for sure. But, I definitely was one of those people that moved away and was like, I miss the seasons.
Yeah.
You don't see the leaves. But then you wake up and it's like shorts are always a possibility. Like, what a cool life,
Yeah, that's pretty cool,
Yeah. And also, but you do need, like, I don't know, you do need, like, that weather mix-up just to, like, I don't know. I also was not one of those people that was truly affected by clouds and rain, like some people really, that's where some of the greatest music came from, were guys that just, even basketball players that just, because it was, there'd be stretches of shitty weather to where it was just, like, staying indoors. But also, too, it's like, I don't know, the weather, like, job in general was always, like, so perplexing to me, because it's like, like, do we really need, like, meteorologists? Like, also, too, they're getting so much hotter, too, which is, like, I don't know who was like, I'd pay attention a lot more to these thunderstorm warnings if I could jerk off to the person giving me the, the information. But that's also just, like, TV in general. I think they're just, like, sex sells.
Yeah.
Even
no
with
doubt.
the weather, which is crazy.
Well, my wife's from Ecuador, so there's a lot of Spanish TV on. Oh, man, let me tell you.
Spanish TV, yeah. Wow, Ecuador. Good for you.
Yeah, I got to get out. I still haven't been, man. It looks beautiful.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Probably I would definitely not, if I'm guessing your wife's, gorgeous, so if you're going to go back to where she's from, like, you don't want to be tempted with more of the, is it really, it's great down there, huh?
Hey, well, it looks great, man.
Yeah.
We just went to Colorado, and she was
cool.
like, it's pretty much like this,
Wow.
I mean, weather-wise, it was, so.
How'd you meet her?
I was working up in New York. I used
cool.
to paint aircraft interiors.
Whoa.
And we were staying at the hotel, me and the work guys, and we'd go to down to the mall where she worked at to, like, kill time, And, I saw her out there, and I was like, wow, that's a hot chick.
Yeah, yeah,
had
of course.
to figure it out, So, yeah.
It's always, did you remember your opening line? That's always so, like, terrifying. Like, girls don't realize, like, I talk about this in my act, like, dudes just get so jammed up because we generally get nervous, and, like, as cool as you want to act, like, you're still, like, especially when you see a gorgeous girl, you're just, you assume that she's been, hit on already numerous times in the night. So, like, what can I come up with that's good? And you want to be funny, but you don't want to, like, cross the line, but you kind of want to, like, push the envelope a little bit. It's like that opening statement is, like, crucial, and it's like you don't want to just say something perverted, but you definitely want to, like, plant the seed of, like, I'm different than these other guys. Like, I might talk about, how your boobs look in that, in the light, or, but I don't know. You have to try to separate yourself from the pack of other perverts.
Well, I'm surprised I made it work, because first thing I'm like, hey, how you doing?
I paint aircrafts.
Yeah, whatever.
What?
And she's like, ¿Cómo? ¿Qué what?
Oh, shit.
No habla inglés?
Oh, nice.
You know what I'm saying? And then when I finally got her to say something in English, she's like, yeah, my brother's coming to pick me up. So I'm like, here's my number.
Nice.
But she called me back. So
how's your Spanish?
Worked out. It's growing, man. Yo hablo poquito español.
Nice. You speak a little Spanish.
Just a little, man.
I took 3 years in high school. I remember, like, Donde un lápiz, which is where's the pencil.
Yeah.
Puedo ir al baño. Can I go to the bathroom? Me gusta grande cabeza. I like big heads. A lot of sentences that don't get you too far
Right.
in the Spanish culture, but
Well, speaking of school and
hell yeah,
foreign languages,
transition time.
You went to school in Britain for a little while?
Yeah. Well, so I went to acting school at USC for 4 years, and then, but one of those years was in the UK in London at an acting school, and it was like 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, Shakespeare and stage combat and high comedy and voice and theater history. It was just a pretty intense program. It was definitely for people. You had to audition to get into it, and it was definitely. They laid out a pretty sweet curriculum as far as having a lot of shows for us to see around town. But if you were doing it, it was a priority for you. Like acting, it was something that you were in theater. You were, taken seriously because it was a lot of my friends that studied abroad. I was so envious. They'd have class Monday through Wednesday, and then they would travel every weekend. Yeah. And we had, we had 1 week break where I went to like Spain and Ireland, and then the rest of the time it was like maybe a couple quick trips to Amsterdam, and then like leave like 9 o'clock on a Friday, come back 6 a.m. on a Monday, just still high as balls and just trying to sit through class, but just being like, I'm fucking just still having flashbacks of that, walking through the red light district and eating a McFlurry in front of a prostitute and fake feeding it to her through the window because I was so fucking baked and just. Have you been to the red light district?
Yeah.
You heard about it?
Yeah. Well,
what a trip, dude. That was
that same plane painting job. They trained me in Belgium. So
shit.
They flew me out to Belgium for like 2 weeks. Took the train to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And, all over the place. And just
definitely one of the benefits of like being overseas. Like so many countries are so close.
Yeah. No doubt.
Like I definitely. The more and that's what's so great about stand-up is getting to travel to places like I don't know if I'd ever go to Kansas or fucking Alaska like.
Otherwise, right?
I mean, you would like to think that you go out of your way to take trips there, but it's like people just don't, man. People go to the places that like you hear about that you've been to. Like no one's going to take a vac. Like if you have an opportunity to take a vacay, you're going to Cabo, you're going to Disneyland or Miami or Austin even. But like getting to see like Toledo, Ohio. It's kind of cool,
Yeah, I mean,
it's also just cool. I mean, I just genuinely like people too. Every job I've had, whether it's working at a casting office or bagging groceries at Albertsons or Wolverine at Universal Studios, it's like all working with people, and it's cool to. It's just that's why people watching at the airport is the best. Even though on airplanes I'm not the biggest like talker, unless it's like I look out in a first class seat, and it's somebody that. There's definitely like an etiquette to like airplane small talk, it's like don't come out of the gate real hard. Like I'm okay with saying something as soon as you sit down, you know.
Break the ice.
Yeah, but then like don't like introduce yourself right away, like but also that is the time to have any of the talk. Like you're kind of like setting the tone with that like initial sit down. But
well,
also,
I imagine you don't want to come straight out with "I'm a comedian," right? Cause
yeah, I mean, I usually lie and
tell me a joke.
But sometimes, for sure. I mean, I've had some awful experiences in that regard. But also, then sometimes you meet some really cool people that, I remember I was on a flight once and I was next to a guy who was like the sound engineer for like U2 and Pink and No Doubt, and he was telling me all these crazy stories about Bono and like just I don't know if I can repeat any of them because Bono probably has people like listening everywhere.
Right.
But let's just say he likes to booze, and but that's no surprise. What rock star does it,
Yeah, seriously.
And he started watching The Heat, and I have a part in that, and so my part came on, and I was asleep, and he woke me up from like laughing, and I look up and like I was on the screen. It was one of the scenes I was in, and so then I kind of like took off my headphones and I was like, I was like, do you recognize that guy? He's like, no. I was like, that's me. And he was like, shut the fuck up. And he was hammered at this point. So then he starts hitting me, and then that just like opened up a whole barrel of like, dude, what does Sandra Bullock smell like? And like, was Mrs. McCarthy as cool as they say? And like, did you get to So I don't know. I mean, and first class too. There's even a whole etiquette to that, and just like people think it's all cookies and hand jobs, but it's like, dude, people judge you so hard. That's why like when I have a chance to upgrade, I'm like, I want to do it for the comfort factor. Bill Burr even said this to me a few weeks ago. He was like, it's not the first class is like that much better. He's like, they just treat you how people are supposed to treat you. You know, he's like, they're like, hey, do you want water? Cool, I'll
For a
fucking go get it
change.
right now.
Yeah.
You know, you have a seat that fits your body, and I'm like, it's true, but there are like the pre-flight judgment is like the one thing that deters me from upgrading sometimes, because people get jammed up in that aisleway and you're sitting there in your seat. And I had this woman just at one point just staring down at me, and I looked up and she just was like, must be nice.
Oh gosh.
And I was like, you know what, bitch?
You could have
It's
paid the
it's a
extra.
5-hour flight, and like I don't do this all the time. And you know
Yeah.
what? Yeah, I get to watch Maleficent as many times as I want for free.
Right.
And like part of you wants to like take your hot towel and be like, and now it's cold like your heart, back to the back of the plane with the rest of the peasants. You know. But yeah, I mean, dude, flying is just like par for the course and so exhausting. It's like I used to be so definitely terrified of like turbulence, and then you just like get used to it, and also too, it's like sometimes I'm so tired on a plane that if I feel it shaking and I'm like, oh dude, we're going down, I'm just like, well, at least I'm fucking half asleep, you know.
Well, I remember when I was doing that job, I flew a lot, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I got to the point where I would like the turbulence. When the turbulence came on, at least it would be like
was
something
calming.
different, you know? Yeah. So, comedy's half your gig, but your voice is the other half, right? I mean, voiceover work's got to be the best.
Voiceover work is it is. It's, I mean, look, dude, it's like I'm fortunate to have a couple cool gigs right now that I don't have to rely on stand-up for my source of income.
Dude,
but
voice of Hyundai.
yeah, it's pretty cool, man. And I do all the Conan promos and
That's
all
right,
other
yeah.
random. What's that?
That's right. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
that, yeah.
It's cool. I mean, being the voice of, and I just got a voice on a new show that's gonna come out on Netflix, I think, in 2018. But
Animated?
yeah, I can't say what it is because I don't think they've announced it yet. But
Yeah.
I mean, like being the voice of like anything is cool, and like I just grew up like anybody, adoring cartoons, and
Right.
I got down to a couple. I think it was me and my buddy Beck Bennett who got the voice of Launchpad McQuack on DuckTales.
Oh, sweet.
And so that would have been like, the best. And because it just seems so fun and cool. And then also now I got nieces and nephews, and it's like, I want them to have something that they can really watch that I'm doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started doing voices as a kid, impersonating like teachers and friends. And I mean, this is actually probably the first time I realized that I was really had like a funny bone in my body. There was a girl named Annie Bernhard who was a new girl in school in 4th grade, right? Everybody had a crush on her. She was athletic and like cute, and even some of the teachers were like, she's fucking hot, you know?
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't think you can say that. You're like, shut the fuck up. And so everybody had a crush on her. And
Yeah.
I was, quick, fat, and a bigger kid, and all my buddies that were like skinny, athletic, like she was like really into one of them, this kid named Evan Hatch, and who now coincidentally is married to my high school and college girlfriend. Shout out to both of them. I'm very happy for them, although I am a little disgruntled that they didn't name their kid after me. And
Yeah, it's
guys,
kinda
if you're
fucked
listening
up.
and you make another one, fucking
Just
my
saying.
cards are on the table. So then she starts hanging out with my buddy Evan, and I start figuring out that I can mimic her voice, right?
Yeah.
It was like, I remember the feeling of doing the voice, and it was like right just in the back of my throat, and it was like really scratchy, and it was like kind of like this, but like obviously way deeper because I had puberty twice. And so I think you can go through 2 puberties, by the way. Like
Yeah.
everyone's like, you go through one, and that's when you get puberty, right? And then like you fucking your body starts changing, you start to jerk off.
Right.
Like, dude, I don't know, man, because there's definitely like a next level where like
Start jerking off a lot more.
jerking off a
man.
lot more. Your voice like that goes to a different octave. You
Yeah.
start like you have like second puberty swagger. It's almost like getting a second wind. When you're like, I can't take any more shots, and then you have like a 5-hour energy, and you're like, bring it on,
Like mid-20s almost.
dude,
kinda,
for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
So I started mimicking her voice, and I would do it to my buddies, and they were like, dude, we should prank call Evan and call her as Annie. So I would do that.
And it
Me and my
worked?
buddies, and we would talk on the phone for like 20 minutes. I'm like, so sit next to me at lunch tomorrow at school, and
Yeah,
like,
we
hold my
should.
hand, and like fuck with him, and then we go to school and see him like sit next to her, and I mean, it was kind of like fucking evil if you think about it. But it's not like we were doing anything inappropriate, like, like definitely like come to school and put your finger in my butt at the tetherball court. Like we weren't doing like evil shit. It was just like, and so that was, we would fuck with them like that, and,
Yeah.
and my buddies would laugh, and I was like, oh, I started to recognize that and be like, oh, cool, like these guys, like whatever I'm doing is funny, like maybe and then you start mimicking teachers and other friends, and then it's just, it's fun. I mean, that's why you get into any of this. It's just for that and then you
sure.
start to figure out the business side of it, and it starts to pull some of the fun away. But
Yeah.
that's kind of the constant struggle of finding that balance between having a business sense about all this, because
Yeah.
you have to, especially nowadays with the amount of self-promotion you have to do and just creating your own opportunities. It's,
Yeah, because that's a big part that most people don't realize. You know, they think you're having a blast, but you're really working your ass off.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you want to make it in anything, you're gonna have to work your ass
Dude,
off.
there's no excuses. There's no. I mean, look, everybody gets a boost and gets some help, like from here and there. Like you can't not do it without that. And then it's about, like, you know, building those relationships and getting to a point where you're like, all right, cool, I'm not a piece of shit. I've got all these cool friends. Like, then at one point do you ask for, like, help here and there, you know? And it's like, and you just try to, like, rely on your intentions being, you know, good-natured. And like when I was putting together, like, a Mad TV audition, you know, Michael McDonald, who played Stewart on Mad TV and was in The Heat with me, and in a bunch of stuff, like, you know, has become a really good friend of mine, and so I definitely reached out to him for advice and showed him some of my characters and impressions, and he, you know, gave me some. I felt comfortable enough to ask him, but also he, you know, we had a good enough rapport that I knew that he would shoot me straight on stuff. You know? And you have to think outside the box like that and be like, all right, what are my resources and how can I, you know, use them for my advantage? Because again, it's just like, it's so competitive. You know,
Yeah,
you just
no
have
doubt.
to do everything you can that is, you know, within reason, and being, like, still good-natured and not, you know, diabolical. Like, you know, comedy, there's some people that think you got to be cutthroat and you know, I've had some comics try to talk headliners out of, I won't say this guy's name, but when I was traveling on the road with Bobby Lee for a couple of years, and there was a comic who was struggling for cash, and Bobby started to take him on a little bit, and the comic tried to tell Bobby that he should take him instead of me because he needed the money more, and that he thought I was, you know, fine working at Universal Studios, and I was like, motherfucker, like, I'm struggling just like you, man, and like,
Right.
don't actively try to take work away from somebody. Like,
Yeah, no doubt.
Bobby picked me, and like, we're jamming, and now you're, you know, so
He picked you for a reason. I mean,
yeah, and like when it ends its course, it'll happen, you know, naturally.
Right.
But yeah, dude, it's that, like, type of uncertainty and, like, excitement that is, like, why I think a lot of us get into it. It's just like, every day is different. It's all on you, you know, and which can be overwhelming at sometimes. But, you know, then when you get to do cool shit like a, you know, a podcast in an Embassy Suites lobby, you're like, it's fucking worth it, man.
yeah. It's
Now if I ever buy a
ambience
plane,
here.
I got somebody to paint it for me.
That's right. Hey, why not?
How long would that take for you, by the way, to paint? Like, let's say
paint
like
it?
a 747.
Like a 747, that's a big job, man. I mean, we might take at least a week.
Fuck.
But we'd be busting our ass too, because I remember at one time, man, we started working pretty early in the morning.
Yep.
We worked. The sun went down. We kept working. The sun came up. We kept working. I mean, it was literally like almost like a 48-hour job straight, just because when planes are down,
Yeah.
you know, they're losing shit tons of money every minute.
Yep.
You know, so it's like they got to get that thing back in the air. So that was hard work. How did you meet Brad?
So, great question. So there was the Little Person convention in the Midwest.
Is this how you met Brad?
Yeah, and I flew out there because I was like, it's always been on my bucket list to meet Paul McCartney, to do a movie with Sandra Bullock, and to fuck a little person.
Right.
And not just one, many at one time in one city.
It would be a
And-
blast, I think.
What's that?
That would be a blast.
I mean,
think.
you know what? I'm not against it. I don't look, and I'm not gonna sit here and say I've got a ginormous penis, but I'm also not gonna sit here and if someone wants to be like, dude, look, all I'll say is this: when I was getting fitted for my suit for Ghostbusters, I wanted to like buy a new suit and like walk down the carpet. And there was a super friendly, effeminate gay man helping me out named Rodrigo, and he was just so sweet. And he's like, you need some shoes. Like, we gotta get like that. This tie is like so in right now. Like, everyone's gonna be like, I want to fuck that guy. And I was like, dude, you know, you're shooting me straight, and I like that. And you're looking out for me. And then he was like, you gotta get these shoes. They're like Italian leather. That's like the shit. It goes so well with these pants. I'm like, Rodrigo, I have shoes. He's like, but you don't have these shoes.
Right.
I'm like, make a good point. He's like, what size are you? I was like, 13. He goes, hello. And then he goes, I'll be right back. And I was like, all right. So that being said, I feel like sex with a dwarf could be, I don't know, like the size scares me. I will say that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I'd have to get to know the person so that I was like
comfortable.
I could like register that it was an adult. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want to be thrown off by the similar attributes to a 9-year-old.
Right.
But Brad is like the king of the dwarf kingdom, and
He really is, man.
dude. He's just, I mean, he's one of the greatest dudes I know. He's one of my closest best friends. We met at USC. What's funny is like he graduated, a semester early, and he was a year below me, but we never crossed paths, surprisingly. And then there was a USC stand-up competition for some charity, and Russell Peters and Jeff Ross were judging it, and Brad hosted it.
Yeah.
And Brad was, I think, at this point maybe 5-6 years in the stand-up, and I was just starting. This was like 2000, maybe a year or two in. And so they let me be on it. It was all students, and then I think I was the only alumni. And in the audition, Brad thought it was funny, and then like we just hit it off. Dudes like again need like minimal information to bond. It's like, do you like comedy? Yeah. Do you like sports? Yeah. You don't like Creed, do you? Fuck no. Let's get a beer, And so we like hit it off real quick, and then I started seeing him at comedy clubs. And then he asked me to go on the road with him, and again, that's how you like build any strong relationship, is getting out of LA and being in like Pleasanton, California, or Sacramento, or again like Ohio or Omaha, and a place where you just have to entertain yourself with the person you came with. And so we were both always so down to go out and find adventures and whatever, and we just we're constantly joking, just exactly what you want out of being on the road with another comedian, just good times and having the shows be good. And he liked that I was a good setup for him for his shows, and we were really supportive of one another. And then the podcast happened. He got asked by there was a network called the Toad Hop Network that was out of John Lovett's comedy club at Universal City Walk. That used to be a jazz club, and then Lovitz was like, I'm gonna make it a comedy club.
Yeah.
And then it fucking tanked, and he was like, oh shit. And that's not what I thought was gonna happen. And everybody has a John Lovitz, by the way. And so then he asked me to the podcast, and I was like, I felt like it was oversaturated, even though it was, this was, 4 years ago, so there weren't nearly as many podcasts as there are now. Now you hear of a kid you went to high school with, he's like, yeah, man, me and my fucking old skateboard gang, we got a podcast called Skateboards and Drugs, where we just get fucked up and talk about skateboard games. And you're like, cool, man. And you're like, yeah, we got like 20 listeners. And you're like, all right.
Yeah.
And like, I think it is great because it's adding to the, just game of comedy and giving people more content and giving people, and obviously people like filter through what they want to listen to, but I think it's great having a lot of options, and the good ones rise to the top,
Right. No doubt.
And so when he asked me, I was like, oh, doing it with somebody seems appealing, because doing it by myself, I just didn't want to like have to talk by myself, or you do so much stuff in this business already on your own, that I was like, oh, doing it with somebody would be cool, and then if we don't have to have guests, it can just be him and I.
Yeah.
And it's been 4 years, and it's one of the biggest parts of both our lives, and to a certain extent. But it's what I dig about it is that we both like put a lot into it, and we committed to it. And just like anything, like consistency. And it's like I'm glad that we, there'd be times when we'd have weeks apart, and we would try to bank a lot of episodes and just never really miss weeks. And sometimes we just can't, so we always make sure that we go through and find episodes. To repost that are conducive with what is happening now with maybe that guest. Like we just reposted a Jeff Garland episode that, always.
Man, and that, what's it?
Howie Mandel.
Yeah, Howie Mandel.
Yeah.
That's a great episode.
It was one of our best, and I think, there's always, getting new listeners, and when we have so many episodes, people just don't go back and re-listen. Like a lot of people just kind of look at, maybe they'll go back 5 or 10. So to re-release, I think is not a bad move if you can find a way to do it in a clever way. And now we're trying to post audio clips and other pictures, and we're starting to do more animated bits from the podcast. So you just have to, again, think outside the box as far as like how to get more people to pay attention. There's so many. It's like,
for sure.
I'm trying to talk to some of my buddies at the Chive about, getting some ad space there. And we have, obviously I hand out postcards after every show, and I try to talk about it in my act, and just to garner people's attention a little bit for it. And, going on other people's podcasts helps.
For sure.
Having your mom, tell all her super Jewy friends.
Puddin'.
Yeah, Puddin'. That's so funny. Dude, a couple people have like seen her in LA.
Her
and
episode was one of the good ones.
Oh, wasn't it good?
Yeah, man, it was. So it kind of inspired me. One day I'm gonna have to drag my mom on.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, also you get to a certain point where people feel like they really get to know you, and some of the stories that people have told us either through email or in person about like how much they feel like they, know us and stuff from listening to us on, long drives or flights or whatever. And then, so then you're like, oh, cool. Well, let me give them more of an insight into me. It's really a great way to do that. And
plus, how many times have you been just sitting at the table with your mom and she tells you something, you're like, wow, that's a pretty crazy story.
Dude, I think never do that enough. Inquire really about our folks' past. It's they're so interesting. It's like I would have never known that, that my mom, fucked my stepdad while I was in the other room. Had I not done that part, No, she didn't tell me that, but I heard that one time. Yeah.
So it's obvious when we listen to About Last Night that you and Brad are like genuine friends. And you get along good. You know?
Good.
I mean, it shows through. Like you could tell when.
What are the moments that you can? Is it just from the banter or the way we bust each other's balls and not get?
Forth, yeah, exactly.
To me, that's
without getting offended. Or
totally.
Anything. Yeah, no doubt. And,
there's a comfortability I think that is being able to slam each other and just knowing that the other person's gonna not bat an eye about it, and knowing that it's for the sake of comedy and also just I think you just get to a point where you recognize I have a dear affection for this person and they know that through countless hangouts and conversations and everything that now it's and
you can tell sometimes when people are put together versus they came together.
Oh,
you know
cool,
what I mean? Like sometimes they just put a couple of people on a show.
Yeah. And
you can
forced
tell
chemistry, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The forced chemistry
casting
versus
is
real chemistry.
so crucial. That's why Workaholics was, such an amazing show because those guys had built-in chemistry, and then it just was it just got stronger, and you can't fake that. And the people that cast shows sometimes they miss it with one part. I mean, some of the people that get beat out for some of these parts because of maybe a bigger resume or they knew or an agent had an in or they repped the showrunner, and then you're like, oh shit, man, the best person for the job didn't get it, and that happens a lot, man. I mean, it's
no doubt.
not only I can the amount of parts I've missed out on because of you get down to a certain point in casting just as picking wallpaper. They're like, all right, well, that guy with that hair against this person versus that person would be and ability goes out the window when you get down to those final few. But
speaking of hair, you have a lovely head of hair.
Thanks,
you,
dude.
You son of a bitch.
When did yours go? Or were you always like this?
Nah, it's been quite a few years now, but
you're rocking it.
It kept receding. And I couldn't go for the horseshoe, man.
It's a shiny ass fucking head too.
Man,
how often do you have to shave it, or?
I shave it at least once a day. Every morning.
Is it fun to shave? Or is it a job?
It's all right. What pisses you off though is after you shave, you leave the house and then you're rub and you feel that spot you missed.
Oh shit! Do you ever keep a razor on the go?
Nah, I should.
Yeah,
I really should.
Wait, so what'd your hair look like? Was it big and froey, or was it?
Man, when I met my wife, I had the most badass mullet you've ever seen.
Nice, dude.
All
right, nice she loves you if she got with you when you were rocking the.
I had these Jesus curls on the mullet.
Every dude should actually wear a mullet wig when they go out to try to meet a chick, and then be like.
And then
Dude, I actually did that. You remember that show Blind Date?
Yeah.
So I went on it actually twice. So I met some dude that was a producer on it, and he got me an audition for it, and I went on as a joke. So they set me up with this chick, and I was I lied. I was I'm into blondes that are just they love action sports, and big boobs are a plus, and bigger boobs are a double plus. And then they set me up with this girl from Chico State, and she was a real just winner, and she was sweet, but she had a couple kids and was looking just to party in LA on a TV show.
Yeah.
And I wore this wig that I bought from Universal City Walk that was a Gilligan's Island hat with hair coming out of the side, and I took it off halfway and she freaked out, and she didn't think she thought that was my real hair.
Really?
And she got shit-faced, and then I told the producer, I was I was trying to wear that wig to see if she would love me for that. And then if she loved me for that, I knew it was real. He was what the fuck are you talking about, dude? He's why would you come on this show and do that?
Right.
And then I did it again, and I wore this, I got this, Antonio Banderas wig, and I went to this wig shop at 8 a.m. and had it fitted to my head, and then they picked me up in the limo, and I was in character when the limo guy picked me up. He's like, so you going to Blind Date, huh? I was like, yeah, man, I'm trying to find the woman of my dreams, He's like, oh, yeah, oh, hell yeah, man, what's your name? I was like, Patricio. And he's like, oh, cool, man. It's I've never met a Patricio before. I'm like, yeah, well, now you have, motherfucker. It's I'm trying to find the woman of my dreams, and hopefully I come back, and you can drive us to, some secret hotel and, pay for our room. And he's like, all right, man, yeah, good luck to you. And then I get out, and I'm wearing the wig, and one of the producers is like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Right? And he gets on the phone, and he goes, yeah, you remember Adam, the wig guy? Yeah, he's doing it again.
Oh, gosh.
And so then they made me take it off.
Oh,
And then I just got
sucks.
hammered, and the girl, like, didn't drink, and she was kind of a snotty
Yeah.
gal. And so it provided for some,
Yeah.
much-needed comedy. But
Well, you're into sports, right? So
huge sports, yeah. Seahawks are Super Bowl bound if we stay healthy.
Yeah, I was gonna bring a basketball so I could challenge you, but
Jesus, dude. You play?
Well, my son's way into it, so
Oh,
I have
dope.
to play with
Is he
him.
tall?
Yeah, he's tall,
Yeah,
dude.
because you're like, what, 6'5"?
I'm 6'4",
Damn.
but I'll tell you what, this kid is amazing. He'll wake himself up early on Saturday and like run around the house and do exercises before the sun comes up. He's 13. The other
Jesus,
day
dude.
he was eating spinach out of the container, like just raw spinach. Instead
What?
of we've got potato chips.
Is he a Popeye fan, or was this
Dude,
just...
He's just like way into like every time you ask him why he does anything, it's because he's going to be in the NBA. I mean, he's just 100% focused.
Dude, I mean, that is a, it starts early, man. Like,
Yeah.
you got to, like, if you got that dream early on like that, and you, eating spinach, that is some crazy shit.
Yeah,
Like,
that's some
where did
crazy
he get
shit.
that from? He
I don't know. I mean, like I'm a health nut, but I don't push nothing on my kids. He just does all that stuff
Is
on
spinach
his
that
own,
good
man.
for you, or was it Popeye? Was it just like his shtick?
Oh, it's good for your pecker, I think.
Is it really?
It really is.
By the way, please tell me that's not the first time you've called a penis a pecker.
No, it's definitely not.
Where are you from?
Originally I'm from Florida. But
Florida.
my dad used to always say pecker.
Say pecker?
You know, he would call us penis breath. That was his.
He'd call you penis breath?
Yeah, that was
Nice,
that was
dude.
from the dad.
That's a good one. Anything breath. Shit
Yeah.
breath, dick breath, penis
Yeah,
breath.
I like that. I still use it from time to time.
It's a good one, because it's like it's a double slam,
Yeah.
It's like accusing you, like nobody wants to ever be associated with bad breath. That's
Yeah.
like one of the biggest social faux pas and like, things to take you down a peg. And then to say that your breath smells like a body part that like nobody
Nobody wants to know.
Yeah.
Well, I guess some people do. but-
penis breath, yeah, maybe. I mean, like, maybe if you're like, I got a clean dick, so I love that nickname,
He had words for everything. Ketchup and mustard was cat soup and mouse turds.
I mean, holy
like,
shit.
he was good with that stuff. So who you got on McGregor and McGregor?
Dude, you know what? I think I want McGregor because he's way funnier.
Yeah.
I think Mayweather's gonna kill him. Because
Yeah,
he's just faster, and it's just like,
Well, it's his ball field.
yeah, dude. I
You
mean,
know?
but I don't know, dude. I think
Well, he's probably the best defensive boxer ever. But I think the one trick that McGregor has is that he's going to come with different styles than, I mean, like his footing and stuff may be a bit different. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
Yeah, he's I don't
could
know.
throw him off.
Those guys make so much money too. Like
Either way, right?
And like I don't want to believe that sports are rigged, but like some situations are just so. I just heard somebody say they're like the football's rigged after the Patriots came back and beat the Falcons. I was like, that was just a straight up crumbling by the Falcons. Like they
Yeah.
just made bad plays and just Patriots did. I mean, I just find it hard to believe that there's that many people involved in a fix.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie Blue Chips was, painted that picture pretty well. But I don't know. In these fights, I just feel like those guys, I want to believe they really are out to get them. But it's like, dude, it's all theatrical. Like, you can tell me they could be best friends and be like, dude, we could make so much money if we fought each other. And then just like, let's act like we really hate each other. Like,
yeah.
who knows, man? There could be a sex tape with those two, or like some video
never
of
know.
them like, playing chess at like, at a Denny's late night and just being like, we're so fucking rich. Like,
Yeah.
why are we at Denny's? Good point.
You never know. Well, I think you've got a really hard out because you've got to
think
go do a
so.
show.
Yeah, dude, I'm on my Uber
running
soon.
out here. I was going to get you a box of Pop-Tarts with the street report on it, but
my
I
God.
couldn't do it in time. So here's just stickers and a card and,
Oh
and
my
stuff.
God,
I
dude,
mean,
a gift?
something.
Dude, that's big
those
time.
are T-shirt bags, but the T-shirts haven't come in yet. So
Dude.
just have some stickers
The
and,
street
and
report.
magnets. Yeah, that's me.
Dude,
buddy.
yeah, big ups to you for following up too. That's another thing that like people listening to your show should like take note. Like, you definitely, you were like, I hit up Brad, he didn't respond, and I was like, fuck that guy, and you're like, yeah, man, and I was like, hey, that's my friend you're talking about, and you're like, oh, my bad, I was piggybacking on you, and then you stayed on me, and I was like, that's you have to do that shit, man. It's like
Yeah.
out of sight, out of mind, and and you just can't always assume that just because somebody doesn't get back that they didn't see it or whatever. It's timing. It's like we all got a lot of shit going on and a lot of things you prioritize,
Well,
and in that moment, in that day, and
I'm not only the hair club president, but I'm also a client. I
Oh
listen
my
to a lot of
God.
podcasts.
Oh, you do? Nice.
Yeah, and yours is definitely one of my favorites.
Oh, thanks,
you
dude.
You guys are hilarious.
I appreciate it.
All right, well, tell everybody where they can find you, brother.
All my social media is Adam Ray Comedy on Instagram, Twitter, and my website, adamraycomedy.com. It's all my tour dates. I'm on the new season of Curb, which comes out in October, and a couple other things. The Workaholics movie, I think, comes out in September. I'm in that.
Mad TV, still on Mad, right?
They're refiguring that out right now, so I can't really speak too much to it, but
So next season
hopefully.
is not solid.
It's not happening or not happening. I'll say that, but who knows? Yeah, and then all my tour dates, I'm on the road a bunch coming up, so come out and see me. And then hopefully a special soon, getting close on that. So
Yeah.
yeah, and the podcast About Last Night with Brad Williams.
Absolutely.
Okay,
All right.
pleasure to meet you, dude.
You see? Cool cat. Well, I always try to leave you with some kind of music. The strange thing about the pick for this episode is I have no idea who made it. A friend passed it to me a long time ago on a CD, and it's always been such a dope song. Every time I hear it, I get amped up, and it came on in the car earlier. I just had my phone on shuffle, right? And it came on in the car, and I said, damn, I gotta play that on the podcast. And what I want to do is I want to ask you, the audience, if anyone has any idea who made this song, please let me know. Email me at streetreport@yahoo.com. If you have any music that you want to get played on the podcast, email streetreport@yahoo.com. If you want to just get at me and ask a question or make a suggestion for the show, get at me at streetreport@yahoo.com. Find us on Stitcher, Podbean, Overcast, iTunes. Please, whatever you do, the most important thing that you could do for the show is go to iTunes and leave a rating and a review. And we'll catch you next time on the Street Report. Peace.
I refuse to restrain my shit. You see, it's gun the motherfucker that's been sickening hot. My lyrics burn like a syphilis crotch. You know the name in the game I spit. I refuse to restrain my shit. You see, it's gun the motherfucker that's been sickening hot. My lyrics burn like a syphilis crotch. Bullshit, deadly and silent. I'm a monster, ready for violence. So cops can't scare me with sirens. You can tell I'm a tyrant. Trent gave me a contract for bomb raps, but he ain't know what the hell he was signing. Stop there. See, most rappers just smelly vaginas, and then verse me as Kelly and mine. It's not fair. Glitz and glamour, what you selling in rhymes, but it's just like the Shelly and 9. It's not there. You got 20-inch Pirellis and shines, and you chillin' in the telly with dimes. It's hot air. I'm trying to break down every cell in your mind. I spit shit that'll machete your spine. I'm hot. Niggas is fantasy when you mention me. I injure your infantry. Expensive heat with my poetic chemistry, and my poetic tendency shook the industry. And niggas befriending me, bitches grinning me, cause they see who I'm finna be. Holla at 'em. You know the name in the game I spit. I refuse to restrain my shit. You see, it's gun the motherfucker that's been sickening hot. My lyrics burn like a syphilis crotch. You know the name in the game I spit. I refuse to restrain my shit. You see, it's gun the motherfucker that's been sickening hot. My lyrics burn like a syphilis crotch. Keep shit simple and plain. I spit shit that'll wrinkle your frame. Deliver dick that'll cripple your dame. You niggas fickle and lame. Wonder why you can't get in the game. The shit you spit, a million other niggas spit it the same. And niggas sick and tired of hearing the same old thing. Your 20 inches, your pistol, and your same old grain. You ain't killer or checkmate, you ain't bring no flame. Unless you young kids, Black Mike, or same old man. And if your name wasn't mentioned and you feel that you spit, holler at me and I'll give it a listen. Let's see who I'm forgetting. My niggas Diesel and Y2JJ, them the only other two niggas ripping or I'm tripping. And I ain't hating, that's my honest opinion. I ain't the greatest, just be honest dominion. A phenomenal penman. And I ain't big ballin' the shot calling, just moving the power forward like Udonis and Kenyon. You know the name in the game I spit. I refuse to restrain my shit. You see, it's gun the motherfucker that's been sickening hot. My lyrics burn like a syphilis crotch. You know the name in the game I spit. I refuse to restrain my shit. You see, it's gun the motherfucker that's been sickening hot. My lyrics burn like a syphilis crotch. The concrete in the pavement is a beast that they keep in the slave. Trying to breach through the streets, it was raised it. When I speak, it's amazing. How my heat tend to leak through the streets, but these creeps keep frequently hating. It's all love. We got the beats and the speech that they craving. We consistent and we frequently blazing in all clubs. Can't accept defeat, think we cheat and we paid them, but they discreet, so we secretly facing a small grudge. You niggas sleep while we reaching for greatness. We in the game on the bleachers, just waiting on y'all scrub. Nigga never touched heat, you incomplete, you faking. You got beef in the streets and you shaking, but y'all thugs. Niggas is finna see when you mention me, I injure your infantry. Dispensing heat with my poetic chemistry. And my poetic tendency shook the industry, and niggas befriending me, bitches grinning me, cause they see who I'm finna be. You know the name in the game I spit. I refuse to restrain my shit. You see, it's gutter the motherfucker that spit sicker than hot. My lyrics burn like a syphilis crotch. You know the name in the game I spit. I refuse to restrain my shit. You see, it's gutter the motherfucker that spit sicker than hot. My lyrics burn like a syphilis crotch. My flow shine like the diamond I took. So your girl spending time with a crook. I write mine like I'm designing the book. I'm too dominant, rook. Peep out my lines, got these guys redefining they look. That's why I put the punchline in the hook. Here's what you find if you look. A genius whooping ass with a pencil, and I ain't even using half my potential. Niggas constantly try to write, what I write is not smart. You can't copy my art with only half of the stencil. No jokes, this is tragedy central. No David Chappelle, your boy blazing like I'm Satan himself. Started that spit flame shit, and that mixed game shit. And I backhand niggas like I'm Rick James, bitch. Rapping is who I am, it ain't even a job. But most listeners only believe in the fraud, so I'ma even the art. Put me and your favorite rapper back to back, and I hurdle him in the track like Sharif Rashad. Believe in the God. You know the name in the game I spit. I refuse to restrain my shit. You see, it's gutter the motherfucker that spit sicker than hot. My lyrics burn like a syphilis crotch. You know the name in the game I spit. I refuse to restrain my shit. You see, it's gutter the motherfucker that spit sicker than hot. My lyrics burn like a syphilis crotch. You know the name in the game I spit. I refuse to restrain my shit. You see, it's gutter the motherfucker that spit sicker than hot. My lyrics burn like a syphilis crotch. You know the name in the game I spit. I refuse to restrain my shit. You see, it's gutter the motherfucker that spit sicker than hot. My lyrics burn like a syphilis crotch.